Добрий день, я вітаю всіх.
Good morning. I want to thank everybody who joins us. My name is Olga Atavanova, and I'm happy to see in Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform. It's almost 9 years of the war and almost 1 year of the since the beginning of the full-scale invasion of Russian aggressor in our land. The last sociological study says that almost 90% of Ukrainians are confident. They believe in our victory, and one of the components of this victory is bringing to justice of all those who committed and continues committing the war crimes in Ukraine, all those who gives command, those who make decisions, and this is what we're going to talk about right now. I want to introduce our speakers today. They are Denis Maslov, Chairman of the Parliamentary Committee on Legal Policy, and Oleg Havrysh, Chief Consultant of the Department of Organizational Work of the Office of the President of Ukraine. So, Mr. Denis, Special Tribunal, the work on bringing all those guilty to justice. What's the progress and what's the role of the Ukrainians in this process? Thank you. First of all, I would like to say that as of the beginning this week, there was more than 87,000 war crimes documented in Ukraine. Only those documented. We really understand it's way more of them than that. They resulted in death of 10,000 civilians, and again, that's only documented information. 461 child died. Every day this statistics unfortunately grows. All of that would not have happened if there was no the fundamental crime, no killings, kidnappings, rapings, kidnapping of children, without the fundamental crime of aggression committed by Russian Federation, not on the 24th of February 2022, but way before, back in 2014, and the crime was planned even earlier. And such persons as Putin, Lavrov, Shoigu, and the rest of them should be brought to liability. Today, in part of the crime of aggression, international justice that many people believe in proved to be ineffective and incapable of bringing those persons to liability for the crime of aggression. This is why Ukraine proposed to create special tribunal for crimes of aggression against Ukraine in the beginning of the full-scale invasion. The tribunal, which would be aimed to bring to justice top-level government official and military command of Russian Federation, and we cannot talk about justice without that. Our president, Volodymyr Zelensky, in his peace formula, item 7, stipulated clearly that one of the conditions of any peace decisions may only be the matter of bringing those guilty to justice, creation of the International Tribunal for crime of aggression, and creation of international mechanism of compensation for losses. President of Ukraine, our diplomatic representatives, the working group created by the President of Ukraine back in spring last year, which deals with the matters of establishment of international tribunal, which group is chaired by Andriy Yermak, and which my honor is to be part of. We've undertaken great efforts. All of the teams, all of the members of our team are diplomatic corps, president himself, and if back in summer, beginning of the summer last year, many foreign experts, politicians did not believe in even the possibility of creation of such tribunal. Today, more than 20 countries, actually 25 countries, joined the so-called core group, which works on the model of tribunal creation in detail. Ukraine proposed its vision to the world, took an active stance. The draft articles of association of the tribunal, and we had to take a lot of efforts communicating with the politicians, holding certain events, pressing, convincing on the people from different countries of the world, so that today we reach that point where we discuss the model of the tribunal and possible documents. It would be based on, there are 3 models proposed by our partners already, including one by European Council, and the first model is the model of tribunal based on the General Assembly of the United Nations, where the Secretary General of United Nations, based on the resolution, can sign an agreement with Ukraine on creation of such a tribunal. This model is satisfactory for us. It was one of our proposals. Another model is a multilateral international agreement signed by countries who share the values, who believe that world order cannot exist without bringing the criminals to justice, the Kremlin criminals. It's also satisfactory to us, and we also proposed it. Another model is a model of hybrid tribunal, when in the national court system of Ukraine we create a court with authorized persons, which court would include the international judges, foreign judges, for multilateral consideration and for the purposes of adherence to the international law, and they would be able to consider the matters of responsibility in front of Ukraine. We express certain concerns with regard to the fact that the national court cannot be impartial to immunity of Putin, Shoigu, because the national courts cannot bring the top-level government officials of other countries to liability. So we do not want to withdraw from the position that both Putin and Shoigu and their top-level military command and government officials are involved in committing the crime against Ukraine, and they should be brought to justice. So we deem 2 first models to be the right ones, and we will insist on their implementation. There will be no justice in the world without it. General Assembly of the United Nations should vote for the resolution which would lay fundamentals for the formula of peace of President Zelensky today, to commemorate the anniversary of the full-scale invasion. It lays the fundamentals, the fundamental elements of the formula of peace proposed by Volodymyr Zelensky. This is why we will go all the way until the end, together with our international partners, with this core group, and we will create this tribunal, and we will bring Putin and his clique to liability, bring them to justice, because the tears of our children, the damage, the destruction should be paid for. For us, as the state of Ukraine, we faced the challenge of collection and verification of all the information regarding all those crimes that Russians commit and keep committing in our land. And now I will ask Mr. Oleg to present interesting information project, the Book of Executioners of Ukrainian People. Good morning. This is really an interesting and important project. It lists 1,700 people who committed crimes against Ukraine, those who were given orders to launch missiles against our cities, those who raped, those who killed, those whom we call executioners. This project is created to make sure the society can join, can feel and provide verified, corroborated information. So who deals with this project? Is the joint project of the Office of the President and Central Intelligence Department of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and General Prosecutor's Office. If the person is listed in this book, it means they're 100% guilty. President of Ukraine reiterated his stance and re-emphasized that all the crimes will be punished, and even the formula of peace provided by President Zelensky, it contains this item of justice. Those who committed crimes will be punished 100%. Why it's important? Because here we have verified information, the information verified by the special services of Ukraine, where we have pictures of the people who committed crimes, their biographies. We have information about what they did, and we can trust it 100%. And on the website, I encourage everybody to join. There is an electronic address, the russiantorturers.com. You can go there and check, and if you have any information about somebody who committed crimes, you can get involved. You can see the faces of those people, those 1700 people, and if you know that they committed more crimes, you can get involved, you can join and add something. When I was talking to people in Bucha who lived through all those horrors, there were two people with the call signs Shkiper and Drost who committed tens of killings. And I really ask you to pardon my French, but they're absolute idiots. And for those people like them, you can get involved and add some information about them. We have a lot of war crimes listed. We have the largest database of the war crimes available in the country. Those are verified pictures. We will add the descriptions for each and every of those pictures, where those crimes were committed, who were behind it, and stuff like that. And the database will expand, and you will be able to get more information. And I encourage all the mass media who are involved in investigation activity, look at those criminals, share the information, and use our information, because it's verified information. It's verified by the special services of Ukraine, including the Central Intelligence Department of the Armed Forces of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. And we have chronology of the war. We will tell how everything was happening in dynamics. Unfortunately, the war is still raging, and the database will be added by the criminals, by more criminals. It's a dynamic website, and we will tell everything that we know about those criminals. The information will be added, and it will become more expensive. There is an email address. If you have any information, you can write us everything that you know. So I encourage everybody, especially the mass media, to check through our website, because it's important for us that all the persons who committed crimes are punished, and it's way better for them if there is a tribunal. We're talking about war crimes. It may be either International Criminal Court for the most rampant cases, but if we talk about all other cases, it will be Ukrainian justice. We have Security Service of Ukraine. We have Ministry of Internal Affairs. There is Prosecutor's Office who deals with those crimes. So everybody will be punished. No one will be left unpunished. It's a principal issue for our president, and we will deal with this matter. For example, people you're seeing, well, you probably know first two. Those are the people who were behind the top-level military command, behind the crimes. Surovikin, for example, and the rest of those four scum, those are the ones who were launching caliber missiles against us. So those you can thank, in parentheses, for the destroyed shopping malls, for the destroyed buildings, destroyed houses, for the dead residents, and that there is a section where we write about the murderers, those who were committing murders, with a detailed description. There are those who committed rapes: Shishmarin, Babykin, Romanov, the rapers Salihov, Khamiyanov, Asakov. So everyone who committed a crime will not be able to get away with it. And the main thing is that we will gather information about all of them. There were cases already when this website, it creates a lot of publicity in Russia, and there were cases where they were trying to find who's behind the website, and they were threatened. But it's clear that we go out here openly, transparently, and we are saying that we don't care about your threats. We will find you and you will be punished, and you're gonna be lucky if you're punished in the courts, because there are other people who can reach you. And I wanted to be heard by those Russian military who will come back here again and think that they will get away with their crimes. We had an interesting case. The 4th company of the Special Forces Brigade 34 of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a person from that company wrote about all of his co-servicemen, and having provided information of all of the crimes they committed. And it turned out to be so that they discussed it a lot in their social media, who could give this information to Ukraine. But no single crime will remain unpunished. We will find everybody, we will write about everybody, and then we will bring everybody to liability. So the best thing that a Russian military can do, they can go out of the territory of Ukraine, and those who committed crimes surrender to the justice and get their conviction in court, because otherwise you will be punished in a way more severe and violent. If there are any questions, I'm ready to answer them. As to the mechanics, if there is a report from, say, a random person, is it verified by our Central Intelligence Department or otherwise? Yeah, really, they see what person is that. The Intelligence Department, they have a lot of materials about every person, actually, about the circumstances of that happening, when it happened, what time exactly it was. If we talk about investigation, so check the New York Times investigation about Bucha. You can see from the surveillance cameras, I mean, everything was going on online. All the Ukrainian cities are equipped with the surveillance cameras, so we can see how the people were killed, who of their command was nearby, how they were looking at it. So imagine that was done by a mass media, but the intelligence, they have way more information, so we know everything. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. If we have any questions, please go ahead. Good morning, Olena Litvinenko, Ukrinform. My first question is probably more to Mr. Maslov. You already mentioned about the tribunal, the resolutions that we all expect for different models, how to bring all those people to justice. Do we have an understanding of the time framework when the process may start practical bringing to liability and practical creation of the tribunals. So transition from negotiations to actual implementation. And question to Mr. Havrysh about the website. Do you cooperate with international partners? Do you provide them with information about those criminals? Do you provide that information to international institutions or foreign institutions? Because we rely on the courts of other countries. Do we cooperate with them? Thank you for your question. I was asked this question many times. All of us, we wanted to have happened yesterday or at least today. I don't have a clear date, so I will put it in a different way. Back in summer, no one even believed that, well, no one from the international community took this idea of creation of international tribunal seriously. Today it's 25 countries who worked in this core group on the model, on the documents, and further documents on for the tribunal. So it's not a question whether it will or will not be created. We're already discussing the model and the statutory documents, and in The Hague there will be the International Center on Documenting and Investigation of Crimes of Aggression in Ukraine. And thanks to our partners, thanks to the efforts of the Office of the Prosecutor General, thanks to the efforts of the President of Ukraine, international institution will start working in The Hague, which will document, store, and investigate the evidences for the future tribunal. That institution, in fact, will be created for documenting of all the facts and to create the conviction for Putin and his cliques. So if you're asking about the practical implementation has already started. When the tribunal will be created, we don't have a clear date yet, but we have a clear understanding that it will be created, and we will take all the efforts, everything which depends on us, so it happens before their victory. Thank you. As to the international investigations, our Office of the Prosecutor General is in cooperation with ICC, and we work with NGO. We're open to cooperation with them. We also help those international NGOs in their investigations. There is an email address on the website where they can email us, and we will leave no one unanswered. But what we do, we look for information about the criminals, we publish it, and it's the ready-made database which can be used by any investigators, either NGO or otherwise. So if there is information about the person, they're already guilty. They will not get on our database for no reason. So if anybody is interested, so please go ahead and use it. If there are any proposals on cooperations, we're open to any proposals. You gave an example of the very profound investigation by New York Times. There are investigations like those in foreign media and in Ukrainian media. Are you going to consolidate all those investigations? All this information is already there. Well, this website, it lists 1,700 persons who really committed crimes. So if we want to see who those people are, where they are, what they look like, who are they? So they're right there. Is the main resource, and it's verified. So the main thing is it's verified, and all that information is 100% faithful, 100% true. The only problem is that this website is still unknown, or it's known but to the limited extent to the wide crowds. And I think we will work with the international journalists who deal with investigation of such cases, and with the bodies such as ICC. They can receive everything they need from us in terms of any additional information that they need. So we're open, and by this press conference we encourage everybody to pay attention to our project and to come to us with their proposals. Any more questions, dear friends? We don't have any more questions, so I want to thank our speakers. I'm reminding you, joining us were Denis Maslov and Oleg Havrysh. So I hope everybody will get involved in filling this database, and we will take care that everybody who committed crimes don't get away with them. Well, it's better the other way around. I wish the number of those people committing crimes reduces. Yeah, well, obviously it is so, but we have to continue working. Keep working on our victory, trust in our armed forces, and glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes.